We need to do another intro. So, real quick, here's what I want everyone to do. Say your name and then say what the podcast is about in like 30 seconds.
I'm going to tell you right now, John, that I, Matthew Sin, will not do that.
Well, then what are you going to do?
I emphatically refuse to state that the purpose of this podcast is to determine which character in a particular series, piece of media, book, whatever that we're talking about is the best. Because we've already done this twice before. To do it a third time is a disservice to myself, to Brandon, and I think to you. It's just disrespectful at this point.
Well, you know, here at Your Favorite Character Sucks, that's what we do. We repeat the process over and over until we have multiple winners. And then at the end of the season, we have a best of the best episode where those winners go head to head to determine which character is the best from the entire season.
Well, here's what I, Brandon Lee Nash, will tell you about this program, YFCS Pod, as we like to call it on the socials. I'm just here to argue with my friends about dumbass shit that most people don't really care about, but we do, and that's why we're here.
I love it. All right, thank you guys. On today's episode,
it's Arrested Development.
let's see. Can y'all hear that?
No.
Hear what? Is it
Oh
still
my
the
God.
keyboard?
Yes, it's the keyboard. How is that not loud enough?
I think it's only picking up voices.
We can hear that.
Okay, I'm kind of hearing it.
Fabulous.
Can y'all
Yeah, we
all
can hear that.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. Well, that was the final countdown.
How magical
It was supposed to be.
You can edit it into the episode.
I'll play it again later. Yeah, and it'll be on the episode hopefully.
And then you can just have us being like, wow,
That's
dude.
me.
It's
Yeah.
awesome that you learned that.
Okay, yeah. Let me get everyone a few minutes of like, oh my God, like you just heard the perfect performance of Final Countdown.
A few
go.
minutes.
Yeah, it's a few minutes long.
That was
Yeah,
one
that
of the
was-
best elementary versions of the Final Countdown I've ever heard.
It was really, really amazing.
Top 3 renditions.
Who are the 1 and 2? Europe?
The original, yeah, and then just some guy on YouTube.
Oh shit! I mean, definitely. I learned from a guy on
probably
YouTube.
him.
So the student has now become the master yet. I
Not
guess.
yet.
All right. Well, Arrested Development. I introduced you guys before we started recording, I think. So, Savannah, you've not been on an episode of this, but you were with me. You did John Gets Lit with me, which was pretty fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, we talked about the Left Hand of Darkness, which is like I don't know. I would say it's niche. I don't think a lot of people.
Not a lot of people have read it. Feminist sci-fi book. Real like gender queer positive.
Okay.
And also
shout out to John Gets Lit. Check out that episode.
Exactly. which came to a grinding halt because of the pandemic. Like we were going to record another episode of Dune. We were going to do Dune.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Dune.
I mean, we also shifted to the podcast.
So you're teaching, right?
Yeah, I teach high school out in Aldine, and I love it.
And I teach high school. And Katie, Rachel, you're a teacher also, right?
Yes, I am also a teacher. I'm a middle school teacher.
What do you teach?
I teach behavior kids, special ed.
God love you.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 teachers here. I don't know if that is what makes Arrested Development fan, but I guess not because Brandon's not a
And
teacher.
then I'm just some guy. So
Brandon's
some
a
guy.
teacher on his own right.
Like a spiritual kind of,
leader.
Yeah.
not certified,
Yeah,
not at all.
not allowed around kids.
Absolutely
just like
not.
Tobias.
Like-
Wait, what?
15 feet or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead and cut that from the episode, please.
And what about what we've watched? I just rewatched most of it, but I didn't get to watch the 5th season again. Did you? What do you say?
I
I
rewatched-
only watched the 5th season.
Okay.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it sucks.
I feel like season 5 throws all the fabulousness of 1 through 3 and then like craps on it.
I can't remember. It's been a while.
But 1 through 3 is magical.
Oh yeah, 1 through 3 is great. And then Rachel, you've seen 1 through 3, but you didn't go into the Netflix thing, right?
Right. I kind of watched a couple of like Lucille Rich episodes of the first ones, and then I tried watching the last ones, and I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't physically take it, so I watched highlight reels on the YouTube.
I feel like with season 4 and 5, they take away the gals a lot. And then
Quite a
all
bit.
of the thing that made the dudes funny is like gone. So you have these like spastic characters.
Yeah.
Floating in the abyss.
Yeah.
I think Tobias is still great in the 4th season, though. And so I'll talk about him ad nauseum. But who wants to start? Rachel, you mentioned Lindsay, but I don't know how familiar you are with the format of the podcast. Or not Lindsay, you mentioned Lucille. Do you want to start or do you want someone else to start?
Oh, somebody else start so I can.
All right.
I can start.
All right, Brandon, you go. So we're going to do like a brief intro of who our character is and why we chose them. And then we'll just talk about everybody after that.
Yeah, so I'll be discussing Job, or George Oscar Bluth Jr.
Gob.
Yeah, or Gob.
Mm-hmm.
And just since the beginning of the show, I've always thought he was the funniest. He's just such like a spoiled idiot
He's a moron.
who is desperately seeking approval from his shitty family. And like, even though he's such a terrible person, you can't help but feel sad for him sometimes.
Oh my God.
Like, there's that scene where it flashes to Lucille just straight up admitting that she doesn't like him.
I don't care for Joe.
I'm not a fan of Job.
Like, yeah, yeah, it's hilarious but sad. Like, the family has never given him any respect.
Oh, man.
And so he acts so over the top to try to get attention, and it's just always so great. His magician act, the puppeteering, they like use him as a scapegoat and make him like president of the company.
That is the one thing I forgot about, was him doing the puppet. That blindsided me whenever I was rewatching. I was like, oh my God, I completely forgot about
Oh, I never
this
forgot
puppet.
Franklin.
Yeah.
Franklin, yes.
The
God.
puppet.
Everybody hated Frank.
I love the album.
As much as they like shit on him for doing the puppet stuff, they always responded to Franklin like he was a real person.
That was the issue, I think, is that they didn't like Franklin as a human, and they thought of him as a person.
He would make jokes about like Franklin flirting with Lucille.
Yeah.
And the dad would always like choke him out.
Yeah. Get that fucking puppet out of here.
Yeah, just all of his antics.
I think somebody actually said, like, fuck you, Franklin. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I can go next if no one else wants to. Do you want to? Who are you doing again? Who are you doing? You're doing Michael. I feel like Michael is the next person we should talk about. Do you want to talk about him?
Yes. Okay. So I like Michael Bluth because I feel like he is the one actual character
Who can
or
keep the
actual
family together?
person. Yeah, keeps the family together. Okay. Keeps the family together, but he's like actually a decent person. But he is a decent person that has been raised and surrounded by assholes. And so like he always has this inner conflict of too much assholery, and it's like he's almost at the top of the mountain, like he's climbing up and then he always slides down, and it's this nurture versus nature thing. I think that he's well intended at the start, but then he just realizes he can't do anything in a like virtuous way. He has to be dirty. And I think that really comes into fruition towards the end when him and his son are after the same gal. But I think, yeah, he has a good heart. He loves his siblings. And he kind of reminds me of that, the sibling in the family that actually cares. That isn't always out for the money and has some semblance of like a goal in life instead of just like floating and leeching.
Yeah.
So that's my take on Michael. I feel like he's always taken advantage of and he's an easy target, but without his, I guess like naivety at times.
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to have half of the storylines, like particularly when he's with Charlize Theron's character, Rita.
God.
And
Oh no.
right, like he's just so good intended but also like oblivious, and then once he realizes her state of being, her MRF, so to speak, it just like everything just always falls apart on him, and I kind of love that about him.
That was one thing I was worried about on the rewatch. I was like, I remember that plot line, and I was like, is this going to hold up? Was that done offensively or not? Did you rewatch it?
I rewatched it.
Again, how did you feel about it?
Offensive. Like, okay.
It crossed the line maybe a couple of times. But for the most part, it's not terrible when I rewatched it.
It is innocent, and it's like because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
But then it bears a question, like I think people fall into when they're dating, and they're like, oh man, you're stupid. How are you adult? Am I going to get in trouble for this? Which, relates to my college years.
Yeah.
So I get that.
What did y'all think when y'all, we're kind of getting off the character now, but did y'all rewatch, or do you remember that plot line? Like,
I remember it. But I was going to say, like, while Michael is normally like the rational one of the family, I think anytime he gets involved with the girl, he kind of starts to become oblivious. Like those are all the times I feel like when he's not responsible. So like with her and like with the lawyer.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love Maggie.
Or
Weiser.
yeah, when he's
I love Maggie.
Maggie's one of my favorite side characters.
you know, competing with George Michael.
I think it comes down to him missing his wife and always
Yeah.
wanting to replace that like extreme love, you know, that like pure love, but like it will never exist because he's in the situation he's in with his family, and then he has to keep everything a secret anyway because he doesn't want to hurt George Michael, even though it's been like decades since
I wonder because they had a lot of flashbacks. I really was wondering, they never did a flashback with her. Like we never get to see her. And maybe that is because she's supposed to be pure, and like we're not. If they put her in the show, then she becomes tainted immediately.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, you can't like make her the perfect character. I think Michael's still kind of a garbage person. I mean, he's still.
So that's.
I feel the same.
Dude, on my
I think
rewatch,
he considers himself to be above everyone.
Right, he thinks he's so great, but I mean, you're.
When I was younger.
No.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Rachel.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say when I was younger, I bought into his like I'm the hero, but then when you rewatch it. Yeah, he's got a hero complex. Actually,
Yeah.
That's a good
he's
way to
not
put
the
it.
hero.
He's still very much one of
Right,
them.
like when he
Yes.
when Michael Sarah starts dating Anne, and he's like he's so against it just because they keep calling her fat, but she's not fat. And
Or
then
when he
she's
can't
Christian.
remember her name.
Yeah, he
Yes.
can never remember her name, and he's like trying to find another situation for him and trying to make him cool. When they try to make him class president, and they try
God.
and he lets Job take care of everything. And,
Yeah.
All right, Rachel, do you want to be the caboose or do you want to go now?
I can go.
Okay, cool.
So my character is Lucille Bluth, and the reason why I feel like she is the most amazing character is because she's got this like, she's like an homage to old Hollywood, over the top, dramatic, horrible women like Norma Desmond from Sunset Boulevard. Just everything is too big. In fact, sometimes I think maybe they use Norma Desmond as her.
Oh, I bet.
You know, because she's trapped a man and making him do things for her, and she thinks she's still going to be rich and famous one day. But and she has like the best lines in the whole entire show. I mean,
She has some very cutting one-liners.
she's.
The best one-liners for sure.
I mean, I use them on a regular basis. Like I'm like, give me my rape horn. Like.
Oh my god.
I love the one where she's like, I don't understand what is being asked, so I will not answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
and
think
it's
that
because
often.
she asked for a plate or a platter. She's like, "You want a plate or a platter?" And she's like, "I don't understand the question, and I'm not gonna."
She's so cagey.
how much can a banana cost? $10?
She doesn't have any idea how much a banana costs. And then when she's like,
I love when her and Kitty go to drink against each other, and Kitty doesn't stand a chance because, like, Lucille's whole diet is martinis, which is just next level homage to old Hollywood, I guess.
yeah, and everybody's like, "Yeah, Lucy." And then, and when she asks for vodka rocks, and Michael's like, "It's breakfast," and she's like, "And a piece of toast."
She's the smartest Bluth, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe because
she's
she's so cagey and also manipulative, and they don't. Even though they know that she is, they still get manipulated by her
every time.
Yeah, no, she like manipulates all of them.
Absolutely, she always calls Lindsay fat and tells her to diet.
The elephant pendant that Lindsay wanted for so long, and then she gives it to Baby, and then Lucille's like, "Oh, well, I didn't want people to make a natural comparison."
Yes.
Oh, it gets me. Or like she's genius too in how she gets like overthrows Cinco de Mayo, you know, and like turns all of Orange County to just do like what was it?
Cinco de Cuatro, which is 5th of the 4th.
Yes, to just take away all of the supplies.
I didn't even realize that it was like, I knew it was wrong, obviously, but for some reason I didn't even realize until literally yesterday I was talking to Brandon, or 2 days ago I was talking to Brandon, and I was like, yeah, it's not even Cuatro de Mayo, which is what it should be. I don't know why I didn't notice that before.
That's really funny. And then when she takes her grandson to the mother boy dance instead of Buster.
Oh God. That one child at that hotel that was like trying to get out. He's like, "Take me with you." Like, so horrifying. I remember. She's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I picked Tobias, which whenever I've always loved Tobias, he's always been my favorite. I also probably shouldn't have, but when I was a kid, I watched a lot of comedy and I watched Mr. Show. So like literally the only actor that I recognized whenever I started watching Arrested Development, I watched it because of David Cross. Like David Cross was on Mr. Show, which was a sketch show back in the 90s. And it's not for kids, but I was watching it when I was younger because I was unsupervised. And so I watched the show for David Cross, and I just love his commitment to the character, and like the absurd outfits and costumes and things that they have him do are always the best. And then when I rewatched it, I always rewatch for this podcast with like I try to open my mind and like not be biased. But literally the funniest parts to me are Tobias. He makes me laugh the hardest every single time. And I thought, there were some things that I was like, okay, what's going to be problematic? I thought about the Mr. F plot, and I was like, is it going to be like crossing lines, like making insinuations that he's gay? Like, are they going to do? And I didn't feel that it did necessarily. Maybe it might be a cheap laugh to like insinuate that someone's gay, but I don't know. It still made me laugh. Like even watching it now, I thought it was funny.
I think the denial
It's only
part
funny.
What makes it funny. Like the fact that he's just so oblivious to the
completely
idea.
oblivious.
Especially
That's what I was going to say, yes.
Yeah, like especially as a psychiatrist, like he should be a little more knowledgeable about like at least be able to hold that mirror up. But like I think it's like at the top of season 4
yeah.
when Lindsay's,
He gets offended,
Yeah, Lindsay's like, well, you're gay. And
Yeah.
he's like, I'm what?
Yes.
And he's just astounded.
Yeah, he gets very offended, and he's like, everyone in this family thinks I'm gay. This is ridiculous. Like, and it's not until the end of season 4, which is so crazy. Not even in the original season does he realize that even people think he's gay.
And then he gets the license plate anus tart.
Yes.
You keep saying I blew myself.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I've got so many great lines from him, and those are really funny. But then there's also just every sentence he says is hilarious.
When how he takes a bath in those tiny cutoff shorts.
Yeah, he's a never nude, which is also absurd.
I love how him and George, he thinks he's bonding with his nephew because like George Michael won't take off the Adam
The muscle
Creation
suit?
Yes, the muscle suit.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, there are many of us. We are everywhere.
Yeah.
And like he
Be
thinks
proud.
he's really bonding with his nephew, but not the case, dude.
There's another part of the story that I was like, I don't know how I'm going to like this on the rewatch, is the whole cousin romance thing. I don't know. What do we think about that?
It's very weird, and I feel like it's weird, but it still is funny to me because they spend like so much time trying to like figure out who's actually related to who, right? And I don't know. I don't get tired of it, even in the end.
Yeah, I think it's
still
okay.
think it's funny.
And
Then we find out Lindsay's adopted, so
Well, but we find out that
But
she's...
the test tube baby,
She's still
right?
related.
Yeah, I think
we
it makes
find
me
out at the
uncomfortable.
very end. It makes you uncomfortable?
It makes me uncomfortable, but it's supposed to, and that's why it's...
I think you're right.
It's supposed to make you slightly uncomfortable, and that's why it's funny. Have you ever
think
seen
you're right.
the Syphil and Ollie show? It's
No.
like sock puppets, and there's this character named Chester, and he's really nervous, and he like is like sexually attracted to Bubbles, and he's just a sock puppet that's sexually attracted to Bubbles, and I don't know, it's...
Oh, he's sexually attracted to Bubbles.
Yeah, and he's like, Bubbles.
Okay, I thought there was another sock puppet named Bubbles, but
I was thinking like Bubbles from the Powder Puff Girls, but we're talking like
We're talking about like
soap.
like soapy Bubbles, yeah.
I mean, look,
And that's kind of like the same feeling. I get.
there's some bubbles,
They're very curvy.
They
They shine.
They're
don't
shiny.
call it bubble butt for nothing. Like, it's
Exactly.
bubbles.
Well done, sir.
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was fine. I was also wondering, like, is it going to be beating a dead horse by the end? But I think they go back and forth so much with it.
It does go on throughout the whole
The
thing.
entire series, which I was like, but then they do take breaks from every now and then. Like when George Michael is dating Anne, they take a break from it. When he's with Rebel, they take a break from it. So there is little breaks from it, but they always come back to it.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, at the very end, you find out that that Lindsay is Lucille's sister, half sister. I couldn't remember it either until I rewatched it.
Yeah. I'm like,
So-
phew.
Yeah, it's
Do you remember-
the very end.
It's so crazy.
Do you remember that Buster pushed his grandma down the stairs or
Yeah.
whatever? Okay. So he pushed her down the stairs because she was going back to get a child from there and he thought it was him. So he pushed her down the stairs. But it was Lindsay because Lindsay is actually the grandmother's daughter. So Lucille and Lindsay are half sisters actually. So they are related. It's just not how they thought it was.
It's not like the Habsburgs. They should be all right, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. It's like one cousin removed, maybe.
Yeah.
Like it's not that close. Or actually, I guess it makes maybe his... Does it make maybe his aunt?
Second cousin.
It makes maybe...
Second cousin.
Which is sort of like an aunt. Like, I call my second cousin aunt and uncle.
I see, yeah, okay. But still related. So in the end, you find out related for sure, finally.
Well, thank God you cleared that up for me.
Yeah, it goes back. God, it's so funny. But,
actually, Brandon is my second cousin.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can call me aunt.
Okay.
Aunt Nash. So...
Well, what I was going to say about Tobias is he
You gonna try to shoot my character in the foot? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. I'm going to come for Job then.
Yeah, well, this is why. Because I think they compete for being the funniest character.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But at some points, Tobias becomes too pathetic.
Oh, yeah?
In my opinion.
I love it.
It gets to the point where it just starts to hurt me and stop being funny because I'm like, your life is so sad.
I agree with that.
But you don't like that super uncomfortable humor.
No, I don't.
And
it
I
hurts.
fucking love it.
It's really hard to watch.
Like Nathan for
It
you.
is.
Like when he refuses to take out the plugs and he's just in that wheelchair.
That is some of the best Tobias.
He's wasting away.
Well, that's hilarious, though.
And then he just gets like shoved down the stairs.
Right? I love watching him flop around with those hair plugs. That's like A1 slapstick for me.
Yes.
I get it every time. Like, it gets me, rather, every
Y'all are
time.
sick.
So that was your
Sick bastards over here.
that was your point that he's just too pathetic. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, so that's why he can't be my favorite, is because it gets to the point where the humor is overshadowed by how bad his situations are.
Is Job not fucking pathetic though
I
too?
think I'm about to get into
Job is so
But
pathetic.
Job is more of an asshole, and
That's
so
true.
I don't feel as bad for him.
You want him to get what he deserves. Yeah, that's true.
I just hate watching him interact with Maybe, like trying to be a dad.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. He is a very shitty dad.
Well, yeah, him and Lindsay are terrible parents.
But Lindsay is a parent in the same way that Lucille is.
Yeah, well, Tobias tries.
But Tobias just forgets she exists.
Well, yeah, but when he finds out that she's into leather, he goes to that leather daddy store.
Jesus Christ.
So that he can become a leather daddy to get closer to her. So he tries.
Leather daddy's pretty good.
He does make gestures, I guess.
Yeah.
He does make gestures. Hopping on to Job, I feel like he has such a desire to be validated by either one of his parents. He'll take whatever he can get, but predominantly his dad. And then with that whole little story with Steve Holt, right?
Oh my god, it's so awful.
Goodness. It's
so
a combination of that one gets me. Like, I find myself when it comes to
Getting upset.
Job and his dad issues, it really makes me upset.
Dude, the way he treats Steve Holt is so fucked up.
It's horrible.
And then in the because Rachel, you haven't seen the 4th season, right?
Mm-mm.
In the 4th season, Steve Holt comes back and they're talking and he doesn't even realize that it's Steve Holt because he acknowledged him before, but the actor's aged quite a bit. I think he's lost hair and stuff like that. He looks very different. And Job is he reconnects with him. He's like, I'll come and work with you. And because Steve Holt owns his own exterminator company, killing bugs.
He's doing okay for himself.
He's doing okay. And Job's like, I'll come and work for you because I don't have anything else to do. But then he gets offered something else and immediately ditches him. Yeah, and Steve Holt
doesn't show up.
Oh my god, dude. Steve Holt. Yeah. Yeah, that is messed up when Job... That's probably the most messed up stuff that Job does is to Steve Holt, for sure.
Absolutely.
But other than that, yeah, Brandon's right. I mean, he's just an asshole who gets his every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a brief moment early on where he's wanting to bond with George Michael, and I like those moments. Where he forces himself to be distant from him because Michael was getting pissed. So he's like, get out of here, you'll never have the magic. And then he whispers like I'm gonna miss you, stupid kid, or something like that.
Yeah.
So he does want to
he's nice
have
to George
some
Michael.
relationships, but yeah.
I think one of the instances that makes and I don't know, I might bite my tongue on this. You know, whenever Buster needs to get weed for Lucille too.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the same exact episode.
And like he's got to go to the coolest kid he knows, George Michael.
Yeah.
And like George Michael just leaves the note for Joe. And that whole thing of like, oh, we got to teach George Michael a lesson. And then the one-armed guy comes in. But
The one-armed guy is
it's
J.
the
Walter
best.
Weatherman.
Thank you.
Because I love J. Walter Weatherman. I also love whenever Buster teaches them a lesson about using people with missing appendages or whatever. Yeah.
That's why you should never try to teach someone a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. God
That
dang
stuck
it.
with me though. But yeah, I feel like that whole thing about me, or that whole storyline of trying to set George Michael straight to not do drugs, or like not, I guess not feign the way you ask for drugs. Like just come out and ask for weed. I think that shows a little glimmer of Job not being a full asshole.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what's funny about that plot is it's his uncle asking him to get weed, and he's getting it from his other uncle. And so it's all his own family that has caused this entire problem, and then they're going to teach him a lesson, but it's like, talk to yourselves first. Like,
Right?
this
Yes.
is not, he's not the source of this problem.
He's just a kid.
He's just a kid that y'all are putting
And it's
through all
obvious
this.
that he doesn't have the problems y'all have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, dude, that's another thing that struck me about Michael is he is so oblivious with his son, George Michael.
Right.
Literally, they are never on the same page.
Never.
From the very first episode to the very end, they are never on the same page. Because, like, there's that very first question of what's the most important thing, and he says breakfast, and he says no, family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way around first? I can't remember. Because then later, George Michael tries to answer the right way, and it's the wrong way again. Like, it's never right.
Never.
Or he'll call him Mr. Manager on that one episode. He's like, you're going to be the manager of the banana stand. He goes, Mr. Manager. And he goes, yeah, I'll be Mr. Manager. And he goes, don't call yourself that, though.
Yes.
But he keeps calling him Mr. Manager.
Yes.
He sends so many mixed signals.
I feel sorry for George Michael just sitting there
Exactly.
always. And then, I really love when they vote him out of the dorm room.
Oh, my God.
I love that so much because George Michael is really standing up for himself, but so
man.
passively. Because all he knows is like passive aggressive, but then everyone votes for Michael to leave, and I think that's one of the first like moments of disillusionment for Michael, where he's like, "Oh,
I'm not as smart as I thought I
I'm
was.
not as smart as I am," and
Yeah.
also like, "Oh, me and my son's relationship."
Yes.
Might
Their
not be
relationship is ruined. in
Yeah,
season
he
4.
never
Absolutely.
actually understands his son.
He's
No.
not listening. He's almost
He's
always
never listening.
Yeah, he's almost always thinking about him.
Yeah, that's why I think like he's actually, even if he has the best intentions, he's not that great of a dad because he's always doing what he thinks is best and not what
Exactly.
his son actually wants or needs.
He doesn't know him at all. And he might be even worse than everybody else because of the fact that he thinks he's such a regular person.
Well, and they all diss him for that, too. They're like, oh, Michael, he thinks he's the best or whatever. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was my Job, I think.
That was Job.
Yeah, that was
obviously.
Job.
That was a very good joke.
It was good.
Michael. I still love Michael, though. I also, before I rewatched it, I thought he was the straight character. And I don't, what I'm talking about? In a comedy, you have that character that everyone sort of plays off of.
I think
know
maybe
if
might
he
be the
is-
straight character.
Maybe? Maybe he's insane.
She's insane, but she's I think she has the best head on her shoulders, honestly.
Well, I mean, she realizes she's not good at school, but she's good at lying, so she's able to become a film producer.
She's a
Yes.
full film
Like-
producer.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
That's
driving
brilliant.
a sports car around and
Yes.
it's a double life.
She is the most successful, and no one knows. No one has any idea because she always has to keep it all secret.
So in the later seasons, she's also living a double life as an old lady at a retirement home.
Yes.
With Stan Sitwell.
And she
Yeah,
tries
because she's
to,
like,
get
she's
you-
like, this life is awesome. Like, I get new neighbors every couple of months. 3 square meals a day.
I've always
I
thought
don't have to
that,
worry about my
actually.
family.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a solid plan.
Yeah.
I would love to live on a retirement community, but be my age, like in my 30s, because you don't really need to make friends. They can be they're gonna leave soon, which is morbid. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's just minimal human contact. I'd be a good recluse, I think.
Part of that is, I think, because, Mitch Hurwitz or the writers of the show, they have a word association disease that I think I share with them. Brandon can attest to that. Anytime anybody says a word, I always take the other meaning of the word and pretend like I think that's what they mean. And I mean, because I think that the reason she's in a senior home is only for Ron Howard to make the connection that she was dating a senior in high school. And then she goes to be a senior because he does, I think in the narrative, which by the way, Ron Howard narrating could also be the best character of Arrested Development because the narration is so amazing.
It's on point. And I think that's what like adds the most humor to it is just his like
His commentary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and they knew this.
Yeah.
And,
Earlier that day.
Yeah.
Or just like I love the quick ones. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like I'll do that, and then he didn't.
He never did.
Yeah. Or that never happened.
Whenever Will Arnett is trying to, not Will Arnett, Job is trying to prove that he consummated his marriage, even though he didn't. Yeah, and he's like, we definitely had intercourse, and he's like, they didn't. And then later on, they did do it, and he's saying that they didn't, and the opposite. It's always so good. Also, when the season 4 starts, I'd forgotten about this until I listened to it again. Ron Howard clears his throat at the very beginning. The first narration you hear is, what does he say? He says something like, in the mobile home, or the model home. So like he has to clear his throat because they haven't been on air. In between season 3 and season 4. I was like, dang, that's so
cute.
Good. Yeah. And Erica told me that Taylor Swift did that on one of her albums after she hadn't been on for a while. And she was like, Taylor Swift did it first, and I looked it up, and no, Arrested Development did it first. Anyway, Ron Howard is pretty great, and then he also is, he's in the 4th season.
He's the Rebel's dad, which I love, and I love that thing about like George Michael wanting to break up with her in like different ways, and then when he goes to dye his hair pink, it turns red, and they're all like, "Oh, that's lovely."
Howard Red.
Howard Red, the perfect shade of Howard Red.
Lucille has some great lines.
You know what she also reminds me of? It's like a caricature of the rich boomer. Rich wasp. Or the rich wasp boomer. And like the cringy thing she says that dad did not age. Like, I mean, they were bad then. And
they were meant to be
now.
offensive.
Yeah, of course.
Horribly offensive.
But like, it's such a commentary of that, like, well, if you fit this demographic, then you can say that kind of stuff as much as you want and when you want. And people are just like,
well, and if she
let it slide.
You know, that's the other thing about the show. And I don't know, Richie, you can tell me how you feel, because I brought it up to you on the Facebook group. I said, she's a virulent racist. Like, she's just, an awful person. But I mean,
that's
she's
part of
supposed
the
to be.
charm.
Yeah, that's part of the charm.
when she asks, she goes to that thing, and all Hispanics, she's asking everybody for a drink. And she thinks that it's like this wait staff.
Yeah, she goes to the Latin American Emmys.
And
they're all dressed in like nice suits, and she's asking them all for drinks.
She's like, I'd like a vodka tonic. I'd like
I've never been to a place with more servers and less service.
God. When Buster's on trial, Michael's like, Mom, they usually say a murderer turns out that way because of who raised them. And she was like, don't you dare put that on Lupe. She had her own family to raise at the time, too.
All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I was struck, and here's some of the controversy that I was like, well, we do know there's controversy with Jeffrey Tambor, right? I mean, you know what I'm talking about or no? Jeffrey, the guy who played the dad.
Yeah.
Oh.
That apparently he got kicked off of Transparent at the same time that they were filming season 5 of this show.
Really?
For being for being like an asshole on set.
He was like verbally abusive to the lady who plays Lucille.
The woman who plays Lucille, who passed away recently, rest in peace.
Rest her soul, yeah.
So this is even more uncomfortable. They were on a like a Good Morning America thing, like promoting season 5 of Arrested Development, and they brought up the fact that Jeffrey Tambor had gotten kicked off of Transparent, and like the guys kind of vouched for him for a second, like what's his name, Will Arnett, and who plays Michael? What's that guy's name?
Jason Bateman,
yeah. They sort of say like, in Hollywood, some guys are, can be a little hard, but he's an actor and he's been around for a while. Like they kind of like make excuses for him. And then Lucille starts crying. This is on I'm pretty sure this is on Good Morning America.
Oh my God.
The woman who plays Lucille.
Jessica Walter.
And Jessica Walter. And she's like, she basically says like, he was kind of, in so many words, like kind of a dick, like, verbal, like, said a lot of terrible things to me and stuff like that. She like starts crying like during a promo. So
that's horrible.
So,
I had no idea.
So much.
Yeah. So I think in season 5 they don't film that many scenes together. Actually, they're less and less together.
They're together quite a bit. I was surprised.
In season 5?
Yeah, because I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
And then when I was finishing season 5, they're still in a lot of scenes because his whole thing is that he's trying to get back with her. And so they interact quite a bit.
And I do love how they get him more involved in the show in the earlier seasons with his twin brother, Oscar. They always play that back and forth. And that's always really good. I like him in the show, but,
It's weird. It was like, it's sort of like with Community, right?
Yes, Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
We brought him up in Community.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I would never want to talk about a show and not talk about those things because I feel like, then it's disingenuous. Like we can't just talk about how much we love a show without also bringing up things that might be wrong with it too.
Oh yeah.
Yikes on the
So the other thing that I was thinking about with the whole racism thing is like, I was more okay with that comedy when I was younger, and I still am actually. Like, if you're making fun of the person, like, I don't think we're laughing at the racism. I think we're laughing at Lucille being horrible.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think everyone who was watching the show is in on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that she's that like that.
But then the controversy to me when I was rewatching it is I was like, there are no people of color in this cast ever. And when they are used, they're always used in stereotypical roles.
Anya.
Like if they're Hispanic, On Young, they do play on his. They don't really play on him that much, like his Asianness.
And then he ends up getting... Well,
I do love On Young, though.
Yeah, he ends up getting one on him at the end.
He gets her put in jail in season 4 because he been spying on them or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Hispanic characters are only on the show if they are
Help staff, wait
staff.
Yeah.
And then what's his name's girlfriend? Job's girlfriend for a while is
Hispanic.
What's her name? Marta. So that they do have that part, but then like black characters are almost always
caricatures,
prisoners, or like help or something like that. Like, so I'm like,
or scamming. Like, who is it? Whenever Tobias gets his, he's supposed to go back to Boston to get his license. But then he bumps into
Carl Weathers.
Well,
Carl Weathers is also playing a ridiculous version of himself, which is kind of funny actually.
Nonetheless, it's definitely for a punchline every time.
Yeah, so I wonder, like, I feel like I'd be more comfortable with the racial jokes if the cast was a little more diverse too.
Yeah, I get that.
That's my only
you're
thing.
right. No, you're right. But I think it's I don't know, it's like there's not that many ways that they could change that, since it's like all supposed to be so vapid and disgusting. So I feel like it's part of
you're right.
It's part of
they don't surround themselves with those people.
Their whole lifestyle is just,
and it's kind of a satire on like people in Orange County.
That's true,
right? And like most families in Orange County fit that
families.
bill, and they're Caucasian and waspy and like all of these god awful just pillars of American life and luxury. And
Lindsay too is always, I was just thinking about her. You're thinking Orange County and stuff like that. Even the ones who are like good or like donating money or whatever, like Lindsay's always a part of these causes. It's never real. It's when
she goes to help with the wetlands to prove that she is a philanthropist and she cares about the cause, and she calls Michael up and she's like, oh my god, I hate it here.
Yeah,
come and pick me up. Or when she gets in the tree and then the guy in the tree ends up falling in love with her, and she's like, oh, you misunderstood this. No.
And while she's professing his love, the tree gets cut down.
The tree gets cut down.
Oh my god. Yeah, and in the end of season 4, Lindsay realizes that she's more like her mother too, which I thought was pretty good.
I love that one. Going back to Lucille, her racism, and the Bluth family in general.
Oh god. Okay. Yeah. I have a Lucille and Tobias thing in a second. I'll get to that.
When she, Lupe wants to, I believe the character's name is Lupe, wants to rent a van and have it meet there for their family reunion.
Yes.
And then they get, they say, no, you can meet at the company house, but then all these people think that it's for going lunch because Lindsay's in charge of the office that day. And then Michael picks up this woman who he thinks is Lupe to give her a ride home, but it looks like a murder scene has happened. And then there's this like very obvious joke of like, oh, well, he's definitely a serial killer and he fits the bill. And as he's like talking, it's just very clear, like, I don't know, like
she runs whenever he parks his car.
Yeah, like, oh, that kills me every time.
The first time that Lucille and Tobias interact, she's talking about Buster and how Buster's like joined the army.
Yes.
And he goes, Mother Lucille, there's a psychological concept called denial that I think you're evincing. And he goes on and he keeps explaining it, and she just stares at him side-eyed the entire time with like the Lucille side-eye.
Her looks are so good.
I love the stare.
The side-eye stare. And she waits until he finishes. She lets him finish as he like keeps going on and on about denial. And then she leans in and she goes, "You are a worse psychiatrist than you are a son-in-law, and you will never work as an actor."
So mean.
She knows how to completely just shut down your whole life.
Yeah, I like that she let him finish.
Turns it.
Oh, she lets him finish. She does not interrupt him. She lets him finish, and then she just fucking skewers him so hard. And he goes,
I love it.
He just kind of goes, "Oh," and he just walks off. And Shirley is like up in the shower with a bar of soap in his mouth.
Crying.
Like,
Dying inside.
how he always goes and cries up there. I also love how he misses parts all the time. Like he was in the shower once doing that, and he missed the fire sale commercial part. He gets a call that he doesn't answer in season 4 to be in Big Bang Theory or something like that. Like, which would have been amazing for him.
I really going to the fire sale one. Man, season 1.
That was
It's drilled into my head. Like season 1
that was like episode
is
3.
magic.
Episode 2 or 3 is fire sale.
Right? And then his wife just comes in and she's like, "Oh, there's a fire sale? Oh my."
She gets the part.
Yeah, immediately, but then misses it because she's celebrating having a job. And like completely misses it.
And that's also the episode. The fire thing has all this, like, it's layer on layer.
Mm-hmm.
The Patrice O'Neill is the comedian's name. Anyway, he plays a pyro guy who gets out of prison and burns down.
Yes, the flamer.
Yeah,
he's a flamer.
Yeah, he's gonna burn down the banana stand. That's where there's always money in the banana stand. That's that episode. Yeah, iconic. And Michael, trying to do the right thing. He's like, "I burned down the banana stand, Dad." Like whatever, but did the wrong thing because he burned
because
it.
it's the inherent wrong thing because there was actual money.
That was upsetting.
Like,
Oh no! Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting to imagine there being hundreds of thousands of dollars that just got burned. I don't know why that always hit me too.
oh man, it makes my insides crawl.
Yeah.
But going to Lucille winks. Her winks.
The wink.
The wink, and then how the
The
wink.
slow wink. Her eyelid doesn't close until it takes seconds.
It's so long. It's so
talent,
controlled.
actually.
It's so insane.
I love how then she thinks her wink
Mm-hmm.
is what's on the prescription bottle. There's like a winky, like a closed eye, and then a alcohol thing on her prescription bottle. Is she for some just such narcissism to think like, oh, that wink means the same as my wink, and goes ahead and drinks on her medication.
Something I like about Lucille that is how impressed she is with that detective. I mean that
Oh yeah,
Gene Parmesan.
Gene Parmesan. Yeah, she's
Every
so
time she
excited.
freaks out.
She screams every time. "Oh, don't mind me. I'm a Mr. Gene Parmesan. Private, at your service or whatever." Yeah. My first Tobias quote that made me laugh out loud on the rewatch was he's talking to George Michael, who George Michael's like not trying to ask him about the birds and the bees, but he thinks that he is. Mm-hmm. And so Tobias goes, "Well, okay, this is going to be a tough one." And he sits down with him and he's like, "When a man has to prove to a woman that, okay, never mind. When a man loves a woman and he has to show that he loves her by making love to that woman." And then he goes, "Sometimes with a lot of focus and concentration, he can have an erection." And
Jesus.
You can imagine every moment of intimacy, and I think it's a few episodes later where Lindsay becomes totally nude in front of him and is like, "Let's do this," and he's like cowering, like.
Well, he goes, "Are those my underwear that she's wearing?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not. She's like, "No, these are mine." He goes, "Well, pardon me if they make my balls look good." Oh my God.
That scene alone was is the assumption that he actually doesn't know he's gay and he just thinks all straight men have this experience.
According to season 4, he does not know that he's gay.
Yeah,
he seems too
this
oblivious.
is the plight of masculinity, is having to prove it sexually.
Yeah. All men go through the same.
He tells Michael on an episode where they're going to go out, he says, "Well, my schedule is as open as my relationship with Lindsay. So why don't we pair up?" And then he pauses for a minute and he goes, "I'll be a great wingman. Even if it means taking a chubby, I'll suck it up." I'm going to pepper these in more, but
When he walks into the model home after it's become the set for How to Find a Pedophile,
that's
and he's
the
like,
best. Oh my
"Daddy's
God.
ready to get his rocks off."
he's oh God. Okay, so
Please.
he's wearing a Thing costume because Rachel, they're doing like a rendition of the Fantastic Four, him and Debris. Yeah, he comes in, he goes, "Where's Daddy's little girl?" Daddy needs to get his rocks off. Oh my God, it's so perfect. We mentioned Gene Parmesan, mentioned J. Walter Weatherman. My favorite character that comes in, but only once. Is not a callback. Like doesn't ever come back again. They mention him a couple times. Is Martin Short as the uncle who plays the bullet?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think of that episode, Rachel? What do you think?
I just love Martin Short. I mean, he's one of my favorite humans in the world.
He's so good.
I
agree.
Everything he does.
He wants he's being carried around by Dragon because every year he would prove how strong he was by lifting 5 pounds for every year of his life or whatever. And he gets to 70 and then he breaks his spine because he can't lift all that weight. And so Dragon is carrying him around, but Dragon, it could be enough. That would be funny already, but then Dragon also is hard of hearing. So he has to yell every command at him. He's like, dance, Dragon, dance. And Dragon shakes him around.
God,
and his little legs,
throws up.
and he throws up. And like George Michael is still young, as Michael Cera. He's like horrified. Like he backs up and he's like, don't be scared, boy. It's just a natural reaction that happens when the body is shaken. And it's so horrifying. And then it'll go, shoot me. He's like yelling at this guy, shoot me. And he gets thrown on to Tobias at the end because he's trying to get with Lindsay.
Yeah.
Tobias stands up for himself. And Lindsay's like, I can't believe you stood up for me. And he goes, I can't believe a 75-year-old man could cave in my chest cavity like that.
I love the lawyer, Barry.
Yes,
And
that's what I was
Harold.
going to say. He's
Dang.
like the
Yeah.
best side character.
Absolutely. And I love how much they defend him.
Why?
And they go that whenever they're bashing on Michael, because Michael had played a lawyer once.
Yes.
The Captain Hook thing. He defended Captain Hook, maritime law or whatever.
Yeah, and he's still all about maritime law.
Right,
Yeah.
still all about it. And there's this one little bit where they're like, he goes, well, I did go to law school. And he's like, what? Your 1 year of law school versus Larry's 3 tries or nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, one should not have multiple tries at law school, but they're still like, he's the best lawyer.
He's so incompetent.
Yes. They say later that he had a lookalike take his bar test for him too. So he didn't even pass the time that he did pass.
No. And I like when George Michael Sr. is on, gets that plea deal. And like, it's just too long for anyone to read. And then like, even to the point of like, Michael's at a bar and that's where he meets Maggie. Because he's going to sit down and read it. If I'm around a bunch of lawyers.
I love Maggie Lizer. Maggie Lizer's great.
I love how she's going to say she gets her sight. She was like, oh, I was hit by the word of God and he gave me my sight back.
The name is great. And also the whole plot where Tobias is like cat-like reflexes is going through her apartment and she's just following him and hitting him and like, it's so good.
With different things.
And just pretending she can't see him. Yeah.
And then her dog Justice ends up being blind.
I love when the dog jumps into a trash can at one point.
They're in the vet's office and he
jumps into it. And then Michael's like, oh.
That is one of my favorite episodes because it really, like, that's what the show does so well is like very convoluted plot where the characters don't know things until the information is either wrong now or it's it doesn't actually serve you anymore, you know? And yeah, like when he finds out that she's blind, she really is. When he finds out she's not blind, she then becomes blinded because she gets sprayed by
with the pepper spray.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then that's how I think all the good episodes are is when the characters don't know things and they make mistakes because they don't know things, and then when they find out about the things, it causes more problems.
Exactly.
And Maggie also pretends to be pregnant, and then
Oh yeah.
But
she comes back.
But is she pregnant? I just rewatched it and I still don't know.
No, she has a suit. Like,
because
had
he
a pregnant
accuses her of
suit.
it.
That goes back and forth.
It goes back and forth because he accuses her of it, and then she proves that she is pregnant, but then she's not.
It was her client who was
The
like
surrogate.
suing a restaurant for saying it made her fat. But really she was just pregnant.
And she was supposed
like
to be
that.
carrying the gay police officer's baby, but she had her client carry it.
Yeah, it's absurd.
yes. It was like absurd is the best word for it because it could have lined up so easily, but
Which by the way, this is random, and I don't think it'll derail the podcast. But that guy who plays that cop, he is also a recurring character because he comes and beats George Sr. over the head. It's always Oscar.
Oh yeah.
The 3 cops. It's always the same 3 cops. They'll come up, and then the last cop is that guy.
He always gets
club him
just
in the head.
smashed in the dome.
Well, apparently that guy was at the January 6th Capitol riots. That actor. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
So I don't think that'll derail anything, but
No.
So it's just a random thing that I found out.
That's
a little
a good
tidbit.
one.
Yeah.
A little tidbit to go on the coffee table.
Which is funny because he works with so many like liberal shows and liberal people. Like he was also on the Sarah Silverman show. And so it's so random that he would be also at the Capitol riots. I don't know.
Yeah.
So random. Y'all got any? Rachel, you got any side characters you like?
Well, I think I've mentioned Anne. I do like Anne.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and so just gross and wonderful. The mayonnaise egg. Oh my gosh.
Yes. The low center of gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can't be knocked over.
When she breaks Job's tooth, when he tries to slide home, she breaks his tooth, and he's like got that whistly Tweety Bird tooth.
And then they date later.
They do.
Yes, and they're
it's
like
really
engaged. What is it? I don't remember if it's Ron Howard's commentary or something, and he's like any good evangelical, she thought he was being serious. And like she took the proposal whatever, seriously.
He does like a crucifixion magic trick.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't remember what he was going for there, but yeah.
He pretends to be Jesus, and he goes, Jesus rose from the dead after 3 days, but I'm going to beat that record by 2 whole weeks.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat that record.
Like, oh man.
Like Jesus is in the Guinness Book of World Records, and he's going to top that shit.
It's a competition to see who can be dead the longest.
I'm going to look up the name of that religious show, too.
Tony Wonder, when he's the
Tony Wonder. Ben
Tony Wonder is great.
Yeah, when they have that. And Buster is he thinks Buster is the lead magician.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They cut off his fake hand.
Yes.
And then they go to do it, and when Job wants to reveal that, like, no, I'm the magician, and then he gets slapped with does he get slapped or cut?
Oh, with the sword.
With the sword?
Yeah.
Oh, that gets me every time. Like, I can watch that on repeat. Like,
yes.
And every time Ben Stiller walks away, he's like, and then he
Tony Wonder.
reveals a quarter.
Yes.
Oh God, yeah, it's so stupid.
Like it's excruciating.
He always, he's like he's playing like the bad boy magician. I think like he's trying to make fun of what's that guy's name?
The one that dated Britney Spears.
Did he?
I think so.
With like the black hair.
Angel, Chris Angel.
Chris Angel
dated Britney Spears.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God.
I remember.
The religious show that that Maybe's dad is on that Job is trying to debut Anne's dad, my bad, Anne's dad. It's called "And as it is such, so also as such it is to you unto you."
Oh, it was debunked. Chris Angel and Britney Spears did not date.
Great, spreading misinformation on our podcast.
At least we cleared it up.
Yeah.
Well, we don't we stopped looking things up. On our last episode, we did Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, and we just were like, no way to look it up. It's
impossible.
We're not worried about it right now.
Get the Google taken away. Going back to Anne, she gets a little maniacal
Anne.
too when she boinks Job and I'm going to say Chris Angel, David. What is it? Wonder.
Yes, Tony Wonder.
Tony Wonder.
That was a pretty funny plot point in season. Was that in season 5 or 4? Season 5 or 4? Okay. She has them like there's some convoluted thing where Job is not really gay.
Yes.
But because
or is he?
No, he's not, because him and Tony Wonder have never had a friend before, so they
true.
They confuse having a friend with being in love with each other.
Yeah.
And then they go on that gay man date,
yes.
But it's not a date.
There's no sexual chemistry.
None whatsoever.
Dudes hanging out.
Yes, they're just hanging out. And
just boys being boys.
But then every now and then they're still competitive. And so Tony Wonder has billed himself as the gay magician, and Job has billed himself as the Christian magician because of the whole like Jesus thing that he did. So Job is trying to convince the gay world that Tony Wonder is not gay because that'll hurt his career.
Right.
And Tony Wonder is trying to prove that Job is gay because that'll hurt his career.
Yes.
And so yeah, they're gonna put masks like it's so fucking convoluted. I can't even explain it. There's no way to explain the plot.
But they end up screwing each other.
Yes, wearing the masks of each other.
God.
Yeah. Because Anne dips out.
Job is wearing a Tony Wonder mask, and Tony Wonder is wearing a Job mask, and they have sex with each other because both of them think that the other person wearing the mask is Anne.
Oh,
you think at one point,
it's
because
so
you gotta get
stupid.
naked to do this. So like at what point are they just gonna realize that it's not Anne?
Yeah.
I think they wanted each other anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
So they have
And then
sex.
Job takes the forget me now. Just forget me nows all the time.
But then they do a big trick to like swap sexualities or something.
Yes.
And Tony Wonder gets encased in concrete, so Job is like, oh shit, now I'm stuck being gay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That very last magic trick on the last episode, it being gay or not has nothing to do with the trick, but he's like, he's going to go through a wall. That's the trick, is he's going to go through a wall.
Because
like,
he needs a way to publicly explain how he's going back
from
to
gay
being
to
straight.
Yeah, and he goes, I'm going behind the wall as a gay man, but when I come through the other side, I'll be straight as an arrow or something like that.
Oh, it's like a baptism.
Yes. And Tobias is like with a protest group at that time, and they're talking to him, and he goes, hold on, I need to see this trick. Hold on one second. Like, he wants to watch.
He needs to figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
So I don't understand if he knows he's gay or not, but either way. Oh my God, Tobias. What about Kitty? Kitty, she's done a lot more things now, that actress, and I really like her a lot. But
oh yeah,
that's another instance where Job has sex with someone that he wasn't supposed to.
Hair up, glasses
He's like,
off.
Hey, go
Light
get.
on.
Yeah. I need you to get some information from Kitty, and then he comes back and he's like, I fucked Kitty.
Yes.
And he's like, okay. He's like, okay, but did you get the info? And he's like, oh, I got some info. And he's like, okay, so what did you learn? And he's like, oh, well, I didn't get any like actual information.
He also has a relationship with Lucille too, which there's another character we need to talk about. Yes. Lucille too. But he has a relationship with her, which I can't even remember how that started at all. This show's so freaking crazy.
yeah, I'm gonna be on the Kitty train for a minute.
Okay.
Much like every member of the Blue family, I guess.
Yes.
But did you? Dirty
Yes.
joke. Okay. So, Kitty, I think, is hysterical. I think Kitty is moderately self-aware, and my evidence to back this up is how she wants so badly to be on the girls who are insecure spring bake videos, and then like she feels so bad that she's like X'd out of it for so many spring breaks to then get her
She
breasts
gets
done.
boob job, yeah.
Yes, and then she's so proud of herself, and she's
And
like,
she shows everybody.
I'll be at Senor Frogs, margaritas in my mouth.
Yeah. You're never going to, or say goodbye to these.
Say
Yeah,
goodbye
it's the
to
last
these.
time you're
Gets
gonna see
on
these.
Gets on the elevator.
I do love how things like that will come back, but for other characters. Like, other characters will say goodbye to these and like, you know, show their chest off. But she comes back in the later seasons too, because she works for Ron Howard. She works for Ron Howard's company. But she's a little more toned down in those seasons.
Yeah, like she's grown up a little bit from the Bluth family. I love that bit wherever George Michael Sr. is in jail and he's talking about how like just frustrated he is sexually. And so Michael thinks he's doing him a favor by bringing his mom there when really he wanted to have a conjugal visit with Kitty.
Oh, God.
And then, then Joe has to sleep with Kitty. Right? Like, that's what brings that whole thing on, to then get caught and watch his parents do it.
Yes. Which is his nightmare.
Oh yeah, and he's
His nightmare.
traumatized.
Yes. Oh, man, that one gets me.
Come on, nerds. You know what it is. Every episode I get on here and beg you to follow us and like our stuff and blah, 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 blah. If you haven't done it by now, then you're just lazy. Twitter and Instagram at YFCSPod. Hit the subscribe button. Like, rate it. If you want to be extra, you can review it. Just a little thing like, hey, this is an awesome podcast. Click, reviewed, done. All right, not going to waste any more of your time. Back to the show. Well, yeah, Lucille 2 and Buster, we haven't really talked about them that much. Is Buster, do we not care about Buster or what? Because I think Buster's really funny, but for some reason, I can't put my finger on. He's just so bizarre.
Buster's wonderful.
He is, isn't he? I mean,
Buster.
he's good.
I love the way he
him.
grabs his ears. He gets nervous. And
Yeah, Tony Hale is a great actor. I mean, did you watch him on Veep?
Yes.
Did you ever see him on Veep, Rachel?
No, but I watched that.
That is a good show.
The new one where he's with the kids, based on a book. What is it? And he plays
haven't
two
seen it.
characters.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's good.
But his character on Veep is also sort of like a feckless, like just following after someone who's more powerful than him, and it's so good.
And it's a female character
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, it's Maggie Lizer. What's her name?
Julia
Dreyfus.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah. That's a good show.
I think Buster is, he's a Milford man. Yeah, he's
Oh my God.
quiet, silent, not seen or heard. But I find his like whole little plot to get away from his mom while never wanting to be away from his mom so hysterical. Yeah. And the pain he feels when he realizes he's been replaced by Anyang is like
that's funny too. I love his jealousy at this like 15-year-old kid. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like Lucille too is like, you know, you have to choose either your mother or your lover. I can't be both or whatever to you. He's got such a weird, complicated relationship with that stuff. And then I was telling them before we got on that the 4th season, he's with the Herbert Love's family. They've adopted him because he's a monster. They want a blindside monster to make their family more sympathetic. Okay. And she is like a very loving, caring mother to him as her adopted son. And then when they find out that Herbert Love has been sleeping with Lindsay, she gets upset and she sleeps with Buster.
Right.
And again, the whole mother/lover confusion, like it's so freaking weird, dude.
So off-putting.
It's like a...
is it funny or is it off-putting or is it both?
I feel like it's...
Okay, I think it's both.
It's like making the Oedipal or the story of Oedipus like a comedy. Yeah. And I kind of appreciate it in that standpoint because then it's like a very hoity-toity Jerry Springer spin. I love it. I think it's funny and weird. Funny.
And the way he's always taking up for Lucille, like when the siblings are talking.
Well, there is that one random scene where he does like they are talking shit about her, and then he like goes on and they bleep him for like 2 minutes straight. I think it's like the first or second season.
Oh yeah,
and all their jaws just drop, and they're like, "Wow." Okay.
Oh, he's like, "All right."
It really comes out.
Yeah.
When Buster finally gets a job and it's on that construction site, and he's so proud of himself, and then he goes, "These people talk so funny." Get my head out of my bottom. Like Lucille hasn't said that to you.
He's so
like I don't know.
He's so innocent.
That innocence, man. Ooh.
And Tony Hale literally takes smoke into his mouth from her mouth, from Jessica Walter's mouth, and spits it out of the balcony. Jesus. And they don't cut that scene. I watched it for 2 minutes straight. There is no edit. He is going. You watched it, right, Rachel? You went and found it. The scene where he's taking the smoke from her and spitting it out the balcony.
Yeah.
Is it because of her house arrest?
It's because she can't leave because of her ankle monitor.
Right.
She can't go out of the balcony.
It's a non-smoking room.
It is a single shot. If you rewatch it, it's a single shot. And Tony Hale comes in and he's talking to her, and she does not care what he's saying. So she's blowing smoke into his mouth. He takes it, he goes and spits it out, and he comes back in, and he looks like exhausted and drained, and then he keeps talking to her, and every time he keeps talking to her, she blows more smoke in his mouth because she doesn't want to hear it.
Yes.
And it's like a 2.5 minute scene where neither of them can break character.
Right.
And they don't. And I'm like, dang, dude, that is fucking good, because to do that is commitment. Like that's so hardcore.
It's hilarious.
I would like to see the bloopers
hardcore
from it, though.
There's no, I mean, I'm sure there might have been another take, but there's no edit to that scene. It's 2.5 minutes of him going out, spitting the smoke out, coming back in, getting more. It's so crazy.
I love how she just assumes he'll do these like bottom feeder things for her all the time. Also, and he will, you know, because she's
Well, he would be upset if anybody else was doing it. He takes the job.
Yes. Wow. Like when Anyang is holding her lipstick.
Yes. While she's in jail, he makes like a replica of her and like an effigy of her. It's so creepy. It's very creepy.
It's very Jason Voorhees.
What is the other person too? Psycho, like the Psycho guy? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Norman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever the last name is.
Bates.
Yeah.
Norman Bates, yeah.
He plays the mother and himself. Y'all remember when Buster got a hold of Franklin? I don't really know why.
Oh, God. Okay, we need to talk about Franklin. We haven't talked about Franklin.
Oh, yeah. Franklin, honorable mention.
Yeah.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention of Franklin.
Like, Buster gets a hold of Franklin, and Franklin is like, really hates Lucille, like, cusses her out.
Yeah, that's another instance where Buster is allowed to, like, release all of his frustration towards Lucille, but he does it through Franklin.
Yeah, and they really she just thinks it's Franklin.
Yeah.
Like, as if Buster has the cognitive ability to, like, pretend he's Franklin. But, like, no, it's just Franklin's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Job and Franklin are freaking hilarious. I think we mentioned the song before we started recording, but
it ain't easy
being white. Yeah. Like, it seems like it's going to be
being brown.
It's like this wholesome attempt to
it's not
bridge the race gap. That's what his goal was. But then as soon as it gets to Franklin's lines, they're like
stereotypes.
Just terrible stereotypes.
And then he gets washed and bleached or whatever.
Yeah.
Franklin becomes white. So then it's just a white person with a white puppet singing the same song.
Yeah.
What about that doctor who, it looks
he's
like
always giving the bad news.
It looks like he's dead. And they all start crying and stuff. And he goes, well, no, he's not dead. It just looks like he is. He's covered in blue paint or something.
It's just catchy.
This fucking guy again.
Yeah.
Lucille doesn't curse a lot, but she
I'm
always
sorry,
curses
but
that
we
guy.
lost him.
Yeah. We don't know where he is.
Yeah,
because
he just
he's
actually left the
lost.
building.
And that doctor, he's in Iraq or something. Like, he ends up being in Iraq training doctors or something like that. Like, he's everywhere. He's always at every hospital. Tobias gets chewed out by Michael, criticized by Michael. And he's like, him and Lindsay are, whatever they're doing with their relationship at that moment, Michael's like criticizing it. And he goes, first of all, we're doing this for her. Talking about maybe. He goes, neither of us wants to get divorced. And secondly, I know you're the big marriage expert. Oh, wait, I forgot. Your wife is dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
So fucked up.
Yeah, and it's quiet after that. For like 10 seconds, no character says anything.
Well, but that's a running joke throughout the show. They always talk about his failed marriage. And
Yes.
it's like, it didn't fail. She died.
Yes.
But like when Tobias does it, it's like, mm-mm.
He hits it so hard. When he buys the Queen Mary, which is a club, they're trying to convince him not to buy it, so they send the hot cops to threaten him.
Right.
They're dressed as gangsters. And he goes, it's like, why don't we start jetéing and stop jeterifying me? And, or jeterrorizing me. And then they go and like find these real gangsters, and he's like, I'm going to get more gangsters off the street because he's, wow, you guys have acclimated to this dance number really well. So they go to these real gangsters, and he goes, hey, fazellas. And then he's like, it's like, looks like you're up to no good. But this game used to be like that too. 3, 4, and they start dancing and rapping, and it's awful. They get
And
shot.
doesn't he just immediately gets his ass beat?
Someone gets shot. Yeah. Tobias is Mrs. Featherbottom. It's like a Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
It's a Mrs. Doubtfire scenario.
I love how he
And
confuses
everyone
it
just
Mary
plays
Poppins.
along so that he'll clean the house.
Oh no, they
love
keep.
that.
Yeah, it's to get closer to maybe.
Yeah.
He's trying to get closer to maybe. And she just keeps sending him away. She's like, yeah, I wish I had my dad here. And then he'll go and change. And then they'll be like, man, this house is a mess. I wish someone would clean it up. And then he goes and changes again. Like, they just keep
Featherbottom.
sending him back and forth.
And if they see him like dressed normal, they're like, ugh, where's Mrs. Featherbottom?
Yep.
I have laundry to do.
When Tobias reveals the plugs, he says, he's telling Job, he's like, I know you've been looking for a lookalike, and I think I have a plug. Or 4,000, and then he pulls his hat off.
Yes.
And his head is bleeding.
Yeah.
It's already bleeding.
It's vile. That's like a dry heave moment.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
And Lupe is there, and she goes, Mr. Gay, you're bleeding. Mr. Gay. She calls him Mr. Gay.
Yeah.
And then he has to play George Sr. like 2 episodes later, so he has to get a bald cap to cover his
Over the
hair
plugs.
plugs.
Hair plugs. Yeah. You know what? Because that turns into like a faux, like, oh, well, we can raise money for awareness of rejection of hair plugs, which makes me think of Maybe's scheme that she does, where she's raising money for BS.
Yes, BS.
And she's become the
What's her name?
The fake girl that has the.
Yeah, what is her name? I'll look it up. But
Yeah, that was hysterical. And
Yes.
George Michael, poor boy, he's like, this is wrong.
Yes.
We can't do this. Oh.
I don't remember what that girl's name is, but
Neither do
it's something clever. They always have clever names like that. Bob Blah Blah.
Oh, yes.
Oh God, forgot about him.
And then a lawyer in the 5th season is named Lottie Dottie.
La-di da di da.
Lottie Dottie Dottie. Sorry to interrupt, guys, but we left out a very important segment of our show on this Arrested Development episode, and unfortunately, it was the audience shout-out portion, which we got more responses on this episode than on most of the ones for Season 3, so yikes. Either way, we'll give you the shout-out now. I'm sorry that it's not live with the episode, but I wanted to say that on our Instagram, we had zonzon.bot, who said, Job 100%. And then also for Job, we have Todd Klein saying, Job, wait, I made a huge mistake. So let's see if Brandon can convince us in the end to select Job. Bridget Morales says, so many great characters, impossible to pick just one. Job, Buster, Michael, maybe. I can't imagine the show without Ron Howard's voice in the character narrator. So narrator must be considered along with all the others. I can't wait to hear who wins. We got another person here, Dr. Disco, that says Job. And then Gustavo Juan says Buster. And then we have yet another Job. So Job seems to be the favorites among our followers. Our last person here, it says, support communism 420. God dang it, I wish I would have read these live on the episode. Says, that's a near impossible question. There's so many good things about all the characters, but I must say, George Michael Jr. Well, hopefully we did justice to everyone's characters, even though we didn't get to read this live on the episode. I think last segment here, we're going to be splitting it up into categories, talking about who's our favorites in different ways. And then we're going to select the winner. So keep listening, and we'll see y'all in the next episode. Thanks. My favorite Job scene from the original series is when they're at the wedding with Charlize Theron.
Makes her walk on water?
She walks on water, and Michael's like, was that your trick? And he goes, no, Michael, that's not my trick.
No,
and the
it's the
episode
best.
ends.
Yes, it's the best cut.
The episode ends, and then it's like next time on Arrested Development.
It was my illusion. And then he just
Because
like
tricks are what
sets
dirty
himself on
boys do.
fire and like
He
falls
sets the
over.
entire wedding on fire, yeah.
Yeah,
And
God, it's so good.
And one thing that I'd never noticed until the rewatch is Tobias, he still has the hair. And he goes, oh God, my beautiful hair, because his hair catches on fire.
yeah.
You don't see it on camera. And then he jumps in the water, and he's not on camera, but he's yelling, why am I not sinking? Why am I not going underwater? Because the trick has put
Illusion.
something there.
The illusion.
So good.
I think it's best that you can't see him. It's fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it would. I don't even know how they would do it. It'd be so
Also,
stupid.
one of Job's tricks is what causes Buster to lose his hand. Because he
the seal?
releases that
the
seal.
loose seal.
Yeah, the
loose
loose
seal.
seal.
Oh my God, dude. The word association is insane on this show. Like,
Yes,
it goes, it's so
too good.
insane.
I love the legs. When you think that these gangsters are after Job, and they go up to Michael and they're like, we're going to take his legs. And Michael's like, oh God, you're really into
Yeah, what
something
was that?
dangerous.
Okay.
Well, it
That was
ends up
season
being,
5.
yeah, or is it? It might be earlier seasons, but like it's the legs from his trick. And then
Yeah.
they have
Oh,
to
no,
have
you're right, you're
George
right. No.
Michael come in with his soft lady legs.
You're right. No, you're 100% right. I was thinking it was the gay mafia
Oh, the gay
season
mafia
5
is
that were
later.
coming after him. Yeah. But they're coming after him because he's trying to not be gay, and they want him to
Well,
stay
in
gay.
season
Yeah.
5, they send a foot.
Uh-huh.
And they think it's a threat, like they're going to chop off your feet. But it's because Buster tried to order a replacement hand on Alibaba,
Yes.
and they sent him a foot instead.
Jesus Christ. Anyang, he's getting revenge for his father. That's why he's there. He says that his name is not Anyang. Anyang means hello.
In
In
Korean.
Yeah, they never learn his name.
And then he tells him at the end, he says, Anyang is not my name or whatever. He says, my name is hello, which in Korean means one day. My father named me that so that because one
Jesus
day I would get
Christ.
revenge for him.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, my name is hello, not Anyang. I have here that Lucille once told a young Lindsay and Michael, she said, who's ready for some Lindsay chops? And then they both look at her, and she said, what? I want to prepare her in case some bully at school is as clever as I am. And Ron Howard narrating says, no bully ever would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course not.
Yeah.
She is wicked mean to Lindsay.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
ruthless.
And it doesn't, I don't know why.
But I don't know. I think she's
Because
jealous
they're sisters?
of her.
She knows
Because
they're sisters.
I think
Yeah.
it's got to be because she's jealous of her.
Yeah.
Which then of itself is like a psychological thing because, you know, like, we don't know, well, and that went over my head earlier, but like, we don't know that it's like a sister-sister situation, mother-daughter, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that it's like, oh, it's the classic mom that's jealous of her, you know,
Yeah.
younger daughter in XYZ way. They really play on those tropes.
I've talked enough about Tobias, I think. I mean, I just think he's so funny because of his obliviousness and his commitment to be blue and be Mrs. Featherbottom and to have plugs. Like, he's always just so committed to those things.
To his character. Or like when he's auditioning for the fire sale and
Yes.
he really hangs on to the fire and he's like rolling around in the ground. Like, oh, it burns.
So that's why I love Tobias. What about you guys? Let's talk more about your characters, and then we'll close it out. We'll figure out who the best character is.
I didn't write down any specific quotes, but it's just all of the antics that we've kind of mentioned for Job.
Yes.
Like the puppeteering, all of his just absurd failed magic tricks.
Return from whence you came.
Even like the simpler things like in the early seasons, like him just riding a Segway around the construction
Yes.
site.
God dang
It's
it.
just
Getting his
some-
free bananas.
It's just some great like object humor. Just
Yes.
him flailing on the Segway.
And he's
Yes,
just
that segue.
unapologetically Joe. Like, he doesn't,
That's true.
with his little, when he rides that thing around, it's just his straight face.
Yes.
There's no, he knows.
Or when he becomes president, there's like the
Oh
bit
my
about the
God.
suit.
Yes.
And every time he mentions his suit, it goes up in
The
value.
price, yeah. Or even when he's wearing the banana suit, he's like, you know,
Yeah.
it's a $300 banana suit. Yeah, he does love being president. He does always need help breaking in the chairs, no matter where he's at. He always has a guy like sit on his lap and they like lean back and forth on the chairs to break them in.
Yes, he has the assistant sit in his lap. And he's like, do you feel that? There's just something not right with this chair. I don't know what it is.
He also can never figure out how to dial out of the phones or whatever. So he'll always make a threat. He'll be like, I'm going to call him now. And he can't do it. And Michael will like help him for a second. And he'll be like, never mind. And then they don't even do the call.
Right.
They never do the phone call.
And still in season 5, he like goes downstairs to check his Gmail. And George Michael's like, you can check that anywhere, even on your phone. And he's like, I'm not trying to make a call. I said, I'm checking my Gmail. And this is the computer IT set it up on. You idiot.
No one wants to help him because he's an asshole too.
Yeah.
George Michael, I guess we didn't really talk too much about. I mean, he changes a lot, obviously, when he goes to college, which is, I think, for the best. But also, I think him and Aaliyah Shawkat, Michael Cera and Aaliyah Shawkat, get to write on the show a little bit in those later seasons. From what I,
That's
from
kind
what I
of
was.
cool.
Okay.
So I think that their characters change a little bit more because they are more involved in the writing
That
of
makes
it.
sense.
I
They
like
needed,
both of them
mature
a lot, like as
Oh, yeah.
actors.
Search Party.
Search Party is awesome.
Have you watched it? Or did
No.
Brand? Have you seen the whole thing?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Search Party is a really good show. Aaliyah
Is it?
Shawkat, she's a star, and the guy who plays Elliot, the gay guy on that show, is he makes me die laughing every time I hear him say
If y'all haven't seen
It's
it,
on
definitely
HBO.
check out Search Party.
It was on TBS originally. I didn't watch it then, but Erica and I watched it on HBO.
Yeah,
Max.
because HBO's doing the new seasons now. It's like the millennial version
It's making fun of millennials
of
big time.
Arrested Development. It's these
You think so?
Oh.
because it's these like just super
They're self-absorbed,
like out of touch with reality,
so out of touch.
like white people who are just so full of themselves and don't understand how society
Yes.
works.
Yes, and Aaliyah Shawkat is Michael in this series. She is doing the right thing, she seems like she's a good person, but she's pretty. I mean, you can learn throughout the series that she's maybe not so great.
Yes.
I'm gonna dive into that.
It's very good.
I love her appearance on oh god, what's the one? The two girls in
Her and
Broad
David-
City?
Broad City.
Oh, she had a great appearance on Broad City.
my
Alana's
God.
lookalike?
Yes, Alana's lookalike.
She did have a
and then
great-
She can't
that
like be
works.
intimate with her because
Yeah.
the thing she thought would make it work and just freaks her out. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, her and Maybe, the woman who plays Maybe, they were on something when they were kids together.
Were they?
Yeah, does anyone know what I'm talking about? There was like I don't know if it was a Holocaust story. It was like a Jewish character and a Christian character, and they played that when they were kids. I'll look it up. But Erica used to always talk about it because she watched that show when she was a kid and she liked it a lot. And then the person who plays Maybe, or plays Anne, sorry, the person who plays Anne is what I meant to say.
She does
Was it
Good
State of
Girls.
Grace? She does Good Girls, yeah.
Yeah, I watched
She's on
Good
something
Girls.
else
State of
too.
Grace. I remember that.
State of Grace, that's Anne and that's Maybe.
But she also
Aaliyah
does
Shaw.
Parenthood.
She did Parenthood, that's what it was, yeah. Did she play a daughter on Parenthood?
Yeah, she's the like messed up daughter of the messed up daughter.
Yeah. Michael Cera is interesting in the later seasons because he starts lying and being different, being complicated. George Michael, I mean.
I really like how he finally gets the chance to show off his musical ability with woodblock, only for it then to take a sharp right turn, and
Yeah.
then it's like that musical ability is still not being recognized nor
Yeah.
cared about.
Fake block.
Fake block. That was a fake block.
Fake
Yeah.
block.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's a
he-
fake wood block. Yeah.
He just gets caught up in the whole tech development shit.
But it sounds like Facebook also, and
Yeah.
it sounds like it's also a blocking. So the word association thing again is insane on the show. But dang it, you made me think of it. Oh yeah, the timing thing. They do a really funny thing because Ron Howard will fit his narration into conversation. Like while they're speaking, he'll do that, and they do it twice in the newer season with Michael Cera, where he sits and thinks before he answers, and Ron Howard will narrate for like 20 something seconds. And then he'll be like, and then he realized that he had to speak because, his internal clock, he knew that he had not spoken for 25 seconds. And George Michael will go 26. So anyway, what I was saying is, like, he'll say the number right after Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Ron Howard will be like, he hadn't spoken in 23 seconds, and he'll go 24. So what I was trying to tell you guys about Fake Block.
Yeah.
So good. They do it twice, and it's funny. Well, what else do we need to know about Lucille and Michael before we decide?
After contemplating Michael, I think he's really, really searching for a way to just redeem his family.
Yeah.
And
and by the way, saying that he has a hero complex, I don't think that is trying to torpedo him. I think that makes him a more interesting character.
Yeah, that makes him, because he does want to save everyone, but like all the other members of his family and his kid, to the point, he's so oblivious to his flaws that like he can't in any way ever save them, right? And then he does end up, don't they end up abandoning them at the end anyway, him and Michael Cera?
They drive off as like the last scene. We don't even really get to see them. We just see the stair car driving off.
So that's it. He's unredeemable, I guess, because he's oblivious to himself.
I like him. He's funny for sure.
I would brunch with him.
I mean, he's certainly a necessary character.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You have to follow this ordinary guy.
It is. I mean, he does play the straight character every now and then because he does get frustrated with all the stupidity that they do. My favorite scene with him, one of my favorite quotes from the original series, is when he walks in and they do that trope that they do throughout the entire Arrested Development series, where like characters are in the scene but you don't see them until much like deeper into the scene. Where he initially is talking to Job, who's laying down on the couch and not doing anything, and then Lindsay's also in the room, and then Tobias is in the room, and then Mady's in the room.
Everyone is there, just like out of
not
frame,
doing anything.
Yeah, and he's like, "What is there, a gas leak?"
Yes, because they're all just so like.
It's one of my favorite.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
It's so good, and then they do that trope many other times later in the series too. But I think that's the first time they do it, and it's so good.
I do love how he always works as a busybody. I can super relate to that. That the constant like, well, if we're not moving, we're doing it wrong, or we're not trying, or but like at the same time, there is nothing they can do. They're being investigated. For God's sake.
He gets so shit on though because like he never gets to be acknowledged. Job is president, but he's doing all the work, and then Job will take his ideas to like Stan Sitwell, which is another character we didn't mention, the Sitwells.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like, and then he becomes in the later season, he's not even involved in the Bluth Company at all, and he's so pitiable. Like he's so pathetic in those later seasons. Like he gets kicked out of his son's dorm.
Yeah,
he finds the beach house, and there's a sign that says "Don't tell Michael."
Oh,
yes. Because they were supposed to get rid of the beach house after his wife died.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just shit on him so hard.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And when he goes to the hospital, I don't know what he goes to the hospital for, but he thinks that everything is going to be like screwed up when he gets out, but everything is like everybody's doing really good and having a great time.
Well, and even when he's like hitting it off with Charlize Theron, and everyone's like, she can't be into you or whatever. And even that turns out not great for him. So he always gets the short end of the stick. And then, he breaks up a lot of relationships because of, he doesn't want to commit the time to the relationship.
Or he uses his son as a scapegoat.
He does.
Yeah.
When
he's
George
too
Michael's
worried about babying his son also.
George Michael will say like, no, Dad, like I want you to be happy. Like try, do this. And he's like, nope, you're not ready for it. No.
That's true. What about Lucille? What else do we need to say about her?
Well, I think Lucille's like the hub of the entire family. So she's kind of a sounding board for a lot of people's jokes and a lot of what people do. And she's just, I don't know, I still think that everything that she does or every move she makes is hilarious. Like she can't be in a scene
always
without it being
gathers
amazing.
at her place.
Yeah.
Like you're saying about her being the hub. There's so many scenes of everyone like meeting up around her.
And she kind of facilitates what needs to be done, and then everybody's kind of working around what she wants to be done, Yeah. And she also has the best chicken dance, honestly.
Yes.
A coodle-doodle-doo? Isn't hers a coodle-doodle-doo?
I love how Michael's so aware of the fact that no one knows what a chicken is. They all think
That's
they
the other.
know.
That's the other great Michael frustration line is.
Yes.
Has anyone in this family ever seen a chicken?
Right.
God, it's so good. It's Lindsay's is cha chi cha. She does the cha chi cha.
Job's is like ca.
Yeah, ca.
With him slapping his hands
slapping
all
his
aggressively.
But then they make a joke at the end of the fourth season he falls off the stair car. I just saw it today. That's why I remember. And it's because he's doing a chicken dance to Lucille too, and he falls down.
Yeah, he
off
does
the
chicken dance for the first time, and he falls and busts his ass.
And his chicken dance is okay. I mean, it's not.
It does result in him busting his ass. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, what do y'all think? Yeah, we could say another thing about our characters, or we can decide like who we think is the best character in different categories, and then we can make a choice.
Oh, I mean, you can propose some categories. You know, we could say like who's
I
funniest.
think they are all three-dimensional. They all have like they're very complex, and different aspects of them show up at different times. They do
Humor,
grow throughout the series.
How essential they are to the
plot.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it's a really perfect ensemble.
Me too.
it is definitely an ensemble.
They do a great job of everybody moves the plot. Really,
Like it starts. It's presented as like following Michael.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, everyone
But
is
the problem is
kind of essential.
the problem with determining who's like the person who pushes the plot the most is that like even the characters who are doing a lot are actually not doing anything because like maybe Lucille has set them off on a wild goose chase. You know what I mean? So like it's like, what is the real plot? Is it the thing that the person's been running around doing, or is it the thing that's actually supposed to be happening behind the scenes? You know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think that kind of plays into the whole joke of how oblivious all of them are, because like the whole point is they're like being investigated by like, for all this illegal activity with their company. But the show, beyond just trying to get dad out and then hiding dad and then what dad's doing now, like that's like the overarch. But like all the meat is everything that isn't that, the supplementary stories.
Yeah. I mean, if the point is oblivious and funny, then I think Tobias has to be the best character because, in my opinion, he is the most oblivious and he makes me laugh the most. If that's the point of the show.
But I think he's like the least related to all the stuff that's going on.
Meaning,
Yeah,
like
he's
all of
very
his
removed.
plots are very removed, so he's not a plot driver.
He
for
has
sure.
like a whole side. His whole life is just a whole other story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. God dang it, that makes me
Which
love
is
him
cool.
more though. I love him more. Yeah.
In terms of the plots, Lucille and Michael are very important. Job just kind of gets wrapped up in it because he wants to be involved, and they use that to like
They use him.
Yeah, to be like the scapegoat.
He's not a great tool though because he oftentimes ends up doing the wrong thing.
Right.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, no.
Or just cussing
He's
it out.
terrible at any
Terrible at
job he has to
everything.
do.
I think it becomes clear that maybe Lucille is the center of it all, because even when Michael does go away, he's still my favorite character. But when Michael does go away, life proceeds. People are still doing their thing, and it's kind of gonna be okay even without him trying to save the day. Like, they're gonna get out of it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
They're all
I
very
think
nonchalant.
she's even, I think, using Michael. Like
Absolutely.
she knows he's
definitely.
competent.
She tells him shit all the time that's using him.
Yeah, like she acts clueless so that he'll step up and do the work. But I think she knows what's going on all the time.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know how I can claim that something's the best character. I'm worried that when we vote, we're all just going to vote for our own characters. I don't know.
Maybe it's so hard
crazy.
because each character is like wildly different comedy.
That's what I'm
too.
saying.
Like
They
Tobias
each
is like
contribute in a
slapstick,
huge way.
and Job is just like this doofus, and Michael is.
I do love
Michael.
Joe.
Yeah,
Circumstantial asshole. That's what makes him funny, Michael.
yeah.
Let's vote and see if anybody votes for somebody different, and then if they don't, then we'll have to figure this out. All right. So
right.
we'll do a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then we'll vote for the character. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Tobias.
Lucille.
Lucille.
Damn. Yes. Y'all were convinced that Lucille was the best? Yeah.
Dude,
Okay,
I
what
told
makes-
you going into this, I thought Lucille was the best.
Dang. Really? I feel like we didn't argue enough for her to be the best, but
I think it's just because the chips
It
fell.
didn't need it didn't need
it's just
too
like
much of
Lucille.
an argument.
Yeah, Tobias is talking and talking and talking, and then she, in the end, just gets that little quip in. God
It was
dang
like-
it.
Yeah, that's
like-
all it takes.
She doesn't need to say anything. She just
Her comedy economy is the best.
yeah.
One line or even just a stare is enough to cancel out anyone else.
I'm fine with Lucille Bluth being the best character
Yeah,
of
Lucille Bluth.
Arrested Development.
For sure.
That's good. That's
And like
awesome.
we've said, she's the mastermind of the family.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got our
Well
winner
done.
of Arrested Development.
Yay!
That's crazy.
I'm proud of us.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It's awesome that you learned that.
That was one of the best elementary versions of the Final Countdown I've ever heard.
Really, really amazing.
Top 3 renditions.
I can't believe it. We did it again. We figured out who the best character is in whatever we're talking about, despite the podcast being called Your Favorite Character Sucks. Now the only question is, what should we do next? You can help us decide by following us at YFCS Pod on Instagram and Twitter and telling us which show, movie, series, book you think we should do. Until then, hit that subscribe button and catch us on the next episode. Thanks for listening.